Welcome back to Crown's Crypto Cave and another little Saturday weekly morning wrap up. I hope this video finds you well over there in the zombie hours if you're coming back from the bars in America, or if you're just waking up for a nice cup of coffee with me over here in Europe. Well, let's waste no time getting into it over here. Bitcoin having a nice day yesterday, confirming a little reversal that we had over here. We've been looking at this area for quite some time, coinciding with a crack above that yellow 21 exponential right there, a full close on decent volume. To me, that is good enough. Good enough is good enough, and we have a confirmed reversal until basically we don't. Until we don't is what I'm trying to say. Just like we had this over here where you crack this area over here and you're going up until you reverse, just like you crack this area over here, which funnily enough we are currently at that same sort of resistance right here, the same sort of pocket actually, which I'm going to be talking about just in a brief moment. Right over here, you reverse until you're not essentially, and same thing over here and over here. But just like these prior rallies, they get faded and they have failed. So I always want to be very, very clear in stating, hey, well, I'm not overall bullish, while I do not believe that while I've not been convinced just enough yet that the overall lows are in, what would I need to see in order to be a believer, a good old believer for Bull Clinton over there? Well, the first start to that would be creating a higher high, which would be with a close above about 7,400, this high over here, which would also coincide with a break of this overall downtrend that we've been kind of living under for the last 9 months or so. And you also notice that red 200 simple moving average has been curtailing price action as well. So a bunch of different things kind of converging at that same area. I'm just going to put a nice horizontal in right there. And just by the simple definition of it, if Bitcoin were to close above this area, it would have its first higher high in about 9 months, almost 10 months now. So that would be the first, big deal to be dealing with. Good English, Crown. No, that's the first thing that I really need to see to make me reconsider a lot of things that I'm thinking over here. That also coincides with your purple 200 exponential as well. Not only that, but I'd also need to see that would be a great start. Do not get me wrong. That would be an excellent start. I think that, that would certainly make me not want to be short in my positions or anything like that. But what would be the slap in the face signal saying, hey, Crown, no longer, we're not there, the low is in, we're not going any damn lower than 6,000, whatever the fuck the current low is. Well, if you got a close above this area right here, about 10,000 even, that would be convincing to me. A daily, a weekly, that would be perfect. That would be all I need to see. And I would no longer be looking for any sort of, no longer on the lookout for a reversal. So with that said, let's get now over into the other cases over here, because there are several different things to be aware of right here. Yes, we did get our first daily close above the yellow 21 exponential over here. Always a good sign, for short-term-ish, reversal-ish type behavior. So the next trade that I'm actually really looking for is a retest of the 21 exponential. Same thing as we talked about, over here, and where was the last time we discussed a few more on the prior rallies as well, and those are typically very, very strong, very strong buys on the retest. Not always, nothing is 100% always forever, but historically speaking, in my experience, not just with Magic and Net Money, but also with equities and commodities and forex, it's pretty damn good when you've been living away from that guy from a while. Closing one above it and then retesting it is typically a buy, and then it's a buy until it's not. So where's the next big resistance? Well, we're actually currently at one right now, coming all the way back from this area over here, still relevant, still valid, from this 60, let's call it 6750 to 6850, we'll call it. Not only that, but you'll also notice that it will coincide very lovingly with the good old 6.618 Mimi over here. Let's just get, should I do the, yeah, let's go, we'll go wick to wick, or should we go body to body, wick to wick? It's like, is that what they say when they start burying people? Something like that. Anyways, so yeah, somewhere right around here, 6,900, which would coincide with this daily 100 exponential right around here as well. And it's all kind of within the area. We're currently sitting at the 0.5. And if you're not familiar with this Mimi over here, well, basically all the prior rallies, if we go through them, have been kind of stopped out at the 618, except for this one over here, which was front ran by a few bucks, as you can see, officially coming around 74.50, and this one curtailed at like 73.50-ish area. And if you want to go one deeper, you can go to this guy over here and let's go, whoops, hey, raise that up. You got to use a low. There we go. And you can see that 618 stopped you right there. And if we go to the one prior, we can go, There we go. And you see that the 618, whoops, should we use bodies? Yeah, we should use bodies here, as that is the most accurate way. And you can see that the 618 stopped at this rally over here. And if we showed the one prior, I'm sure that it would do it as well. But without boring you to death, let's just get back right on into it over here. So again, the next big move, in my opinion, is a close above that 6,900 region. If you can do that, if Bitcoin can do that, then there's really not much stopping it from the prior highs over here. I don't see really much in the way. Yes, technically speaking, you would have this area right here at around 71-ish hundred, give or take a few bucks. But overall, the big bad area to be aware of is this guy right here, 7,400-ish even. And yes, it's a few ticks lower. I do understand that. But just for purposes of brevity and purposes of just ease of conversation, I'm going to round up to 7,400. So as long as you're below 7,400, you're creating nothing but a lower high. Doesn't mean that it can't get above, but hey, that's just kind of the filter that I'm coming through over here, as Bitcoin has to prove itself right now. It has to prove itself as it's got another chance, got another bounce off the 6,000 range. And I do want to talk about a few things over here. Why am I not necessarily bullish off of seeing this? Well, in my experience, markets are not too fucking generous. They're not generous at all, actually. They give you about one chance to buy the bottom. Not not 1, 2, 3. Do you count this like 3, 4, 5, or just 3, 4, 5, 6 chances to buy the bottom? And I mean, whether that's 6 or 8, that's up to you to decide. But that's a little bit too damn generous to me, as in my experience, markets give you about one chance to buy the bottom, and not just one chance. They give you about 30 minutes to buy the bottom, really. This looked good to me over here once we first had it over here, and you kind of had to be bullish after seeing something like that. But once you start retracing that the whole damn way, well, now you got a big problem. So with that said, I am going to be skeptical for Bitcoin seeing its ultimate lows until you actually get above this area right here. But hey, in the meantime, doesn't mean that you don't have a nice long trade. And I was actually long on the break of this area right here yesterday. So that's trading. A lot of people have been asking me, where are you looking to short? Well, I need to see reversal first, is what I need to see. Now, if we go down into the lower time frames, we are seeing a little bit of pressure being put onto Bitcoin over here. Nice shooting star dilly right here on decent volume, but not heavy. We are printing some bearish divergence on the RSI, and as you can see right there, proprietary stochastic firing off a sell signal on the 2-hour, and I believe on some higher time frames as well. This is the 2-hour, this is the 3-hour, yeah, another sell signal right there, 4-hour sell signal, and not necessarily on the 6, but hey, on all the other ones, definitely a sell. And something that I always do put a lot of something that I just noticed has a lot that just holds a lot of weight on Bitcoin over here is whenever the 3-hour stochastic crosses. Now I do have some special settings on my stochastic. It is available in my stochastic video in the technical indicators section of this channel, and you have got a negative cross to the downside, which does do pretty well. Almost it's almost dirty to admit, but it actually does pretty damn well to just blindly trade that. 3-hour, RSI divergence over here as well. Also looking like we are about to dip, or we're actually testing the exponential on it right now. Same thing with 4-hour, and I think all the way up to 6-hour. 6-hour does have a little bit as well. Does the 8-hour have it? No, the 8-hour does not have it. You can see that the 200 simple actually coming around our next big resistance, and we're being held by the 200 exponential right here as we currently speak. So here's the big deal, and here's what I really want to get across on this video. As long as Bitcoin is above 6550 area, this support right here, or sorry, this former resistance that it broke through yesterday, and uses it as support, as long as it's living above there and closing, higher level dillies above there, well, I am, this reversal looks good. It's good until it's not, as we said. It's good until it's not. So if Bitcoin were to break this area right here, then that would be a clear indication to me that, hey, we're going back lower again. It's time to put on the red alerts once again. And once again, we'll probably be testing the 6,100-ish area down around here. So again, that's the big area to be aware of. As long as you're above there, the reversal is okay. So yeah, that's really all that there is to be said about that. Now let's do a little bit of mental masturbation with each other. It's fun. So I'm gonna go put it on the 2-day over here, and I'm gonna take everything off, and I'd say, hey, all right, so we have a death cross on the 2-day, which is extremely powerful. We've only had one other death cross on the 2-day in almost 10 years of Bitcoin history, right over here in 2014. Right there, the green and the purple cross on the downside, and a clear test right there, and a rejection and sending you all the way down to your red dildo death. And you'll also notice that this 2-day dildo cross, is actually kind of right in the midst of all this resistance right here. And the 200 exponential, this purple line, is coming around that official 7100-ish area. So as long as Bitcoin is below there, I do look at this as a potential trap. And not only potential trap, but I do look at it as a likely trap, as a lot of the times you will retest that area. Now, I do believe that this area over here gave us a lot of confluence on what is likely going down. But to come back and formally retest it would certainly not be it would not be out of the question. It would be actually pretty normal. So that means that Bitcoin can come all the way back to 7,100 and really not, make any heads turn. Or, I mean, people get really bullish off of like literally 2 green over here. It's like, all right, well, hold on. Barely done anything just yet. But hey, it's good for now. What else do we have to look at? The 3-day. 3-day does have, it did get your first daily close over your yellow 20 exponential over here. That's pretty good. But again, getting some bad crosses over here. And again, revisiting this purple 200 exponential for the 1, 2, 3, third or fourth time is not a sign of strength. Basing on your lows typically leads to new lows. Now, I do want to bring into discussion another facet of this chart right here, and I know that's getting a little bit convoluted right now, but we do have this major descending triangle right here, right? Now, we actually have a triangle within the triangle right now. We have triangle conception going on right over here as we do wedge ourselves into this area over here, and that upper resistance actually is coming in perfectly with that horizontal. So I like that. I just wanted to quickly show that. I'm now going to take it off. But that also gives confluence to, hey, if you break out of this area right here, 60, let's just call it 6,900. Yes, it's like about a quarter lower. But if you do break out of that area, yes, there's it's telling you that, hey, you're breaking out of a shorter term consolidation pattern, resolving what is typically a more bearish consolidation pattern to the upside. That's always a sign of strength in my book. And you'd probably come back and retest this area over here, and that would be where the real game begins. So just kind of adding on to that we do have a lot of things to be aware of over here. The price action is getting very, very tight, and officially this will have an apex somewhere around the beginning of December. So it will be forced to choose a direction before then, or at that time. Although you'd imagine that in my experience, once these things get like 70 to 75% full, they can break at any goddamn moment. So let's go over to the higher time frames as well, as that's always important. I'm going to bring you over to the weekly over here on Stamp, and you'll notice that we printed a bearish engulfing dildo right here, rejection off the yellow 21 exponential, kind of also rejecting this 21 and this 55 cross over here, as Bitcoin does try to crawl its way back onwards and upwards. You'll notice that this weekly, while it has taken out the prior weekly high, still very low volume, which to me is indicative more of consolidation rather than market shifting move. So again, another kind of, hey, just be aware of this. It's not necessarily all said and done just yet. So definitely be aware of that. Also, if Bitcoin fails to get above this green 55 exponential, which is around 7,500, in really the next couple of weeks, these exponentials will cross. They're getting ever so close. They're just inching their way forwards as they take their time. But again, why is that even relevant to be aware of? Well, over here in 2014, the only other time you've ever actually had that cross right over there, boom, send you down to your overall red dildo death cross, or death. Anyways, I do want to bring up this over here. We're going to go look at the good old MVT signal. Sorry, I didn't set this one up. But we got the MVT signal over here. Again, if you're not familiar with it, it is the network value divided by the 90-day moving average of the daily transaction value, which means it calls tops really fucking well. And they actually added a nice moving average on it. Nice. Okay, cool. Oh, look at that, man. I guess that's a 200 simple probably. Or is it? We'll have to see. Anyways, called the top in 2013, called the top in late 2013, called the bull trap of 2014, called the top in late 2017, and it's actually given us, it called the top, of, what was this? There was in July, called the top in September so far, and we're still kind of hanging around this more overdone critical region right here. Overall, when this thing does get into the overall critical regions, it typically correlates with at least a drive back down into the less than 50 range over here. As you can see on the left hand side, your scale over there, boom, this one just barely getting there, this one just barely getting there, this one getting there, and as you can see right now, we're still way above this area. So this does offer. This also does make me very cautious to say, hey, it's bull market on, baby, because I don't quite see it just yet. It could be, but but I want to see a few more things first. I'm going to take up my golden shower strategy, and I'm going to put on the good old Trollinger bands over here, and I just want to show them on the weekly really quick, take off my exponentials, and say, hey, you are going to be testing pretty damn soon the middle Bollinger Band, this reddish brown line, the skid mark of it, at around, which is your 20 simple moving average, by the way, which is around 7,000, which again is right in the thick of all that resistance. So again, do be aware that you're coming into a significant amount of resistance over here. So yeah, overall, it's a couple of low volume, pump up, and what I look at is consolidation dillies over here from higher time frame perspectives. Do not change around a market. If Bitcoin were to both open and close a dildo above this reddish brown line, above 7,000 area, then open and close, not just close one, but open and close, then I would be a believer in a then I would be a believer in a short term in some more upside. If you start getting, it would actually start to likely imply a test to this 8,500 outer bound over here, this upper band, so to say. So if that did happen, yeah, that would be pretty damn convincing to me. And you're probably going to start to, curl it up after that too. Just start pushing it like we did over here. So overall, that's just one more thing to be aware of. We did a very similar thing over here in 2014 as well, just kind of testing this band, and then just overall failure. But hey, if you can open and close one above that area, then you got some to look at. Also, you can see that your 20 simple moving average, this reddish brown skid mark, is pretty aggressively sloped to the downside. You really don't get it, it doesn't really come this far down too often. And this would also be suggesting that, hey, we are likely to test a lower band of this, which is officially coming in around 5,500, which, if we go back on over here, you'll notice that would likely come in line with this beautiful area right here, this nice horizontal that we'd have right here. If I were to put it on the 3-day, it would be a little bit more apparent. Yeah, there we go, right around there. Yep. And so that would come right around there. And, if Bitcoin did start falling down, it would start to open up down around that range. Now, again, when your Bollinger Bands, when your Trollinger Bands get this damn tight, it's telling you that, hey, it's getting mature. The pattern is mature. It's ready, baby. It's ready to go. So fair enough. As you can see, the 3-day still being held back by it as well, by the median band, which is typically, generally bearish. Doesn't mean that it can't change. But for now, that's how I'd be interpreting it. Over here to GDAX, and let's go talk about what are the bulls looking at, because the bulls, everyone's got a reason why they think one way or the other. Well, I would believe that the bulls are looking at this as some sort of a falling wedge, and it does have the right shape of one, but doesn't have the right psychology of one, because remember, these patterns aren't just like, a lot of people get faked out by the shape of a pattern thinking that, hey, it's a head and shoulders, because it's like barely looks like one. Good old fucking Mimi on crypto Twitter now. But and same thing with the falling wedge. Falling wedges are just my fucking least favorite pattern to play to begin with. I'm a wedge racist. I absolutely hate every and all wedges, just because they fake you out a lot. Just like, like about a month and a half ago, you were drawing like this, and then you boosted above it over here. It was on, low volume. So fair enough. It was kind of a warning signal right there, but hey, just fall right back down. And that's how I see a lot of rallies go forwards. Anyways, so yeah, let's just kind of make the assumption that, hey, you can draw like this, which is certainly fine. Actually, it's certainly very, very fine. But there's a problem with the overall setup of this. The volume catchers would be wrong, as a falling wedge is a pattern of like a shakeout of sellers, and as you can see over here, we actually have an increase in aggressiveness of the sellers instead. Not only that, but you can see that directly. Whoops, let's get this right, by the way. But not only that, but you can see that directly in the way that this last high was found over here. Well, I guess second to last high at around 7,400-ish area. It wasn't even able to get to the overall resistance at 7,550, which to me says, hey, the sellers are so damn aggressive over here that they're willing to forgo better entries in exchange for just getting entries in general. What else do we have to look at? But again, this is what the bulls would likely be looking at. So that is that. Let's go now over here to to stamp once again, go onto the monthly, and let's get on these guys. And as you can see, yes, this is not this does not look good to me. When you're kind of basing around this yellow 21 exponential on the monthly, after a long time of being away from it, that is not a sign of strength. And we can actually see the full market cycle within this chart right here, from top to bottom. You start your market cycle, you start your bull run, very, very important, by getting your first monthly total close above this yellow 21 exponential on extremely heavy volume. Look at that right there. And then you start, boosting your way above, and you see that you never really get anywhere near it for a while. I mean, you actually get progressively more further away. Until over here, you get your nice pair of tweezer top reversal dildos right here on heavy volume, and you fall through to the downside right here, and then you start consolidating between 6,000 and 12,000, this triangle right here. You resolve and break that triangle to the downside right here, and Bitcoin's just kind of been resting along and consolidating along this yellow 21 exponential right here. So the monthly chart, the higher time frames are very, very clear, in my opinion, in stating, hey, it's hold your horses. It's not necessarily time to get excited just yet. It could be, but Bitcoin's still got a lot of work to do. If Bitcoin were to get above the high of this dildo right here at about 8,500, that would look good from a monthly perspective. But right here, right now, just dancing around this yellow 21 is not a sign of strength. Again, consolidating on your lows typically leads to new lows. It's just time is like, your time is like the X factor of that equation. So however long that takes. Anyways, so yeah, if you were to break that yellow 21 exponential, then there'd be very little holding up from this area right around here, that, low 5,000s, high 4,000s area, which would also coincide likely with this blue 30 simple moving average right here at around 43 to 4,400. We will be getting a new monthly in about 9 days or so. So there will be more to look at soon enough. And the monthly dildo close is very important coming into the end of the month over here. If the monthly closes, really anywhere below like 6,500-ish, that's going to look pretty damn bad, in my opinion. So that is something to definitely be aware of over here. What else do we have to look at? Yeah, if I put on my red 10 simple moving average, you'll also notice that we're kind of being lassoed by right now. You can see that that's where Bitcoin's finding resistance at, just like you did in 2014. It got lassoed around the 10, and then you bring it down to the 21, and you start to base there, and it's like, oh, fuck, oh, fuck. So yeah, again, just things to be aware of over here. Let's go back on over to Finex, go over to the daily, and I'm gonna put on the volume profile. So let's just kind of think of forwards here. So I'm making a lot of assumptions here. So again, major assumption being made, major assumption being made. But hey, if Bitcoin were to break its current lows, you'll notice that there's very little volume holding you up in this area right here. Actually, pretty much nothing, all the way till high 4,000s to low 4,000s area, which would make sense coming from this area over here. And we could certainly put some nice horizontals coming in right around there as well. And you know what? I probably already have done this. Yep. Okay, there we go. And we got one more right around here. Yeah, so in this range right here would kind of make sense as places to kind of find some balance at if it were to take a little bit of a tumble, a lot of a tumble over here. So yeah, do be aware of this as well. Definitely do be aware of this. We're getting a lot of lines on this chart now. I do apologize about that. But it's just kind of more things coming into focus on that. Not only that, but if I do go over here to my Bitstamp chart, again, keeping that mid to low 4,000s area in mind, I do want to show you this dotted trend line right here, denoted by this red arrow, by the way. This is the almost 10-year logarithmic trend line that has never been broken, and every time Bitcoin touches it, it never really goes lower. So this would actually officially be coming in around, if we were to approach it right now, around that mid to high now area, if Bitcoin were to approach it. Now, again, I'm not saying that Bitcoin is going to approach it, but hey, if this did happen, if this, then that, then this would kind of, add confluence into this area over here. Not only that, but you do have your purple 200 exponential kind of, curtailing around this area as well, or tailing around this area. And also your 786 Fibonacci retracement is kind of in this area as well. You will notice, though, that this is rising pretty damn rapidly. And actually, at the end of 2018, it will officially be a low of about 6,200, funnily enough. So again, if you are a longer-term investor, and you are thinking that this is going to hold up, or you are basing your trades on this area, actually getting a little bit here is not necessarily the worst idea. So yeah, there's just another thing to be said about that. Okay, what else do we have to look at? All right, let's go back on to, let's go look at a Mr. Buterol. Always a good idea to look at Mr. Buterol over here. I'm going to take everything off. Mr. Buterol putting in a nice reversal dildo right here, a nice hammer on extremely heavy volume and follow through. That is my 3 things that I need to see, especially on a weekly, to confirm a short-term reversal. Perhaps even this is capitulation over here. But again, same thing as Bitcoin, needs to get above 10,000 to make me a believer. I need to see Mr. Buterol back above basically this. If I put on my drawing tools, we should have one right over here. Let's get this guy out of the way. Actually, I'm just going to redo this one. So we can do it together and put this guy right there. Okay, that makes sense. We'll have this guy right here. This is not the big one to be aware of. This next one is the big one to be aware of. If Mr. Buterol can start closing weekly dildos above what is this, 385? Yeah, if you can start doing that, that would make me a believer the same way as like Bitcoin closing above the 10,000 range. Like, you know, it's unlikely to go any lower. I don't have any reason to be overall, you know, bearish on this from the longer term. And yeah, that's that. So again, you know, in the shorter time frames, I just want to reiterate really quickly. Hey, you got a lovely reversal here, closing above your yellow 21 once again. We can actually just shove it down there, a nice horizontal right there. So a retest of this area would be a buy in my book. Really not much stopping you from this area over here. We've been talking about this for quite some time. Actually coming up almost, actually getting above. We had this area marked off as well around 250-ish area, and Mr. Buterol actually crawled his way up a little bit above. So nicely done, hitting that area. If you did take that trade, fucking phenomenally done on your part. So yeah, you know, overall, it's got a reversal until it does not. But again, I'm always going to be questioning a reversal until you actually start confirming some dildos above this area right here. Again, you know, 375, 380-ish area. If you can do that, I'm convinced. I'm a believer. But for right here, right now, it looks good for now. You know, you have a reversal until you don't. So I'm going to go back on over to Mr. Bitcoins over here, and I think that's going to do it for this video. So just kind of wrap up everything in just a couple sentences over here. Again, Bitcoin has a short-term reversal in, just like it did over here, on decent volume, definitely much better than what we saw from this prior rally over here. Not necessarily as good as this rally over here, but hey, it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. So it's reversed until it's not, and I really want to make that clear. It's reversed until it's not, and what am I looking for to confirm a reversal back to the downside? If it happens, well, I want to see major divergences on at least a 4-hour. I want to see that 3 drives. I want to see, you know, an 8-hour would be great as well. Daily would be even better. But for right here, right now, you know, it's going up until it's not, essentially. I did take a long yesterday off this. I did actually get out of it around 67.20 or whatever it might be. And I'll be looking to rebuy along probably in the vicinity of the yellow 21 exponential if I can get around there. What else? So yeah, and again, okay, very important. Oh my God, so damn important. The reversal is alive. It's all well in Safu and good until, major point to be made over here, until we start closing some dildos below this area right here, 65.50 even. If you start closing some dildos below that area right there, yes, that is a time to be in defense mode once again. And you know, once again, it's probably going to test that 6100 or 6100 or 6000 range, whatever the fucking the bottom support is, or 6200. This guy right around here. Okay, 6150 we'll call it. Yeah, 6150. So again, that would be a major red flag if we did break 65.50 once again. You could even put another just kind of create a range right here, 6600. So between 6600 65.50. Really don't want to see that range break if this rally is to continue onwards and upwards. It does look like this rally does want to kind of come back down and consolidate a little bit lower again in the shorter time frames. Again, some sell signals over here, some bearish divergence, but it's not necessarily a rally killer just yet. I need to see this area break. And then, of course, for some of those more lower targets, I need to see this 6150-ish area break over here. So again, that's what I'm looking for overall. Bitcoin, nice little reversal so far. So far, so good. And I look forward to seeing you in a live stream soon. Take care.